G'day everyone, Dan here. Welcome to North Queensland Barbecue and Brewing. Today we're doing a brisket point. We picked up this yesterday from Currajong Meat Barn, and this one's a 4.5 kilo brisket point. So this one's a Cape Grim one, and we're looking forward to doing it. It should be really nice. I find the point just cooks up way better personally. It's a personal preference rather than the flat. So today I'm joined by my friend Matthew Anderson here, and Matthew owns the Scorching Saddle Chilli Company. And we're going to use his rub on this brisket here. So Matthew started this at the start of the year?
Yeah, in March this year.
And has been making these chili rubs, selling them at the local markets in Townsville here, and I believe they sell them at which butcher?
Angus Meats in Townsville.
Angus Meats. So yeah, they're available online and from Angus Meats here in Townsville. So we've used a few of them before. I think I used them on my crispy chicken wings maybe in another video I did, and they came up really good. So this particular rub here is a coffee rub, the Gunpowder rub, and I'll let Matt just explain quickly this rub here that we're using today while I get this unpackaged.
So at the Scorching Saddle we grow all the chilies from seed, and we smoke them all and dry them all and then turn them into our wonderful product. This is Gunpowder, which is a coffee based rub. So it's got three types of chilies in it. It's got a smoked, mild and a sweet chili, and then freshly ground coffee mixed with other herbs and spices. This is a great versatile rub. It goes on all types of meats. Great on beef, great on pork, great on seafood as well. Coffee rubs are very new at the moment and really nice, but we do have a full range of other rubs on our website at www.thescorchingsaddlechillicompany.com.au. We do four types of rubs. We do Gunpowder, we do a bull dust, which is mainly for red meat. We have a pigs and wings, which is mainly for pork, chicken, fish, great on roast potatoes as well. And we have a chili spice mix, which you can use in cooking as a spice in like taco seasoning or in chili con carne, but also a great rub for seafood, especially fish. We also do chili salts. We've got a Carolina Reaper, fresh lime, ginger and garlic. We have a habanero, red wine, rosemary and garlic. And we have a smoked salt, which is a smoked Himalayan rock salt with chipotle and lime. If you like that smoky flavour but you don't have a barbecue or a smoker, you can use that as a normal seasoning and you'll get that smoky flavour on your meat. We do chili oils. We do chili infused honey. We have a scorpion and cinnamon infused honey. We also do peanuts, so we've got our Flamin' Hot, which is extremely hot peanuts. We have a jalapeno and lime, which is quite mild, and a scorpion nut, which is on the hot side, but it's they all use our infused salts in them as seasoning. Great little snack while you're doing a barbecue or having a beer. I'll go through a pack of those Flamin' Hots with one beer. So yeah, the rubs aren't overly spicy. They're on the mild side of things. We want the flavour, but we don't want to blow people's heads off, and we want them to complement the meats. So yeah, this Gunpowder should go really well on this brisket today, and we'll be able to taste it later.
So as you can see, I'm trimming all this fat off here, getting this big hard stuff off, and I don't really want that in there. I'm not letting this go to waste. I'm putting it into my in my cast iron little pot here, and that's going to go into the smoker. We're going to render that down for the beef tallow. So I'm basically getting all this hard stuff out here. You can see right in here. I don't want that. It won't render down that well, and it'll go in the pot there. That should probably be right for there. The good thing about the point, and I'll get this yucky stuff off here too. The good thing about the point is that it is got a fair bit of intramuscular fat, so we don't need to worry too much if we trim off a bit too much fat on the top, because the intramuscular fat will keep this piece of meat fairly moist. You can see it's a fairly big chunk of fat there. That's actually a fair bit there. Like that's, we don't want that. We don't need that. That's no good for us. That camera's picking that up, and you can see how much fat. Now I'm getting to a bit of meat there. Don't want to cut the red off, but that's all useless to us. But like I said, don't waste that, because it'll render down beautifully and we end up with fresh beef tallow that we can use later on the meat. So we'll come back in about 5 minutes. I'll continue to trim this up and we'll be ready to put that in. Just you've got all this crud here, like stuff like that, it's not needed. I won't try to take too much of the meat off. I'll leave all that on. That can probably come off. That's not going to be very useful to us. Underneath, that's actually looking pretty good underneath there. I'll just take that little bit off there. But yeah, we'll come back in 5 minutes. Trimming the brisket's completely up to you. Whatever you see, if it's hard, fat, and feels hard, just cut it off. So yeah, we'll come back when we're ready to put that in the, when we're ready to season that. So we're ready to season this meat, and we're going to start by just putting a layer of salt on this. So we'll just put a nice fine layer of salt on there as our base seasoning. We're not going to put anything else with the salt. No pepper, no garlic, because that's already in the rub. Give this a nice coating. I'm happy with the fact that we trimmed this up nice. Just make sure you get the ends. Took a bit of fat off. That pot is full of the fat I trimmed. We'll render that down in the smoker though as we're cooking this brisket. So the thing with brisket is it's a very long, slow cook. It's taken me quite some time to get happy with my briskets that I'm cooking, and it was one of those things where I started in the bullet smoker and I've worked up to using the offset. So now we'll just layer it with this. There we go. A nice bark, so I'm going to get a fair bit on there and get that heat and the flavour from the rub into this meat. Whatever falls onto the board there, onto the ends. Pat it in.
The thicker you go with it, the more probably heat you're going to get from it, but obviously you want a good, nice, thin coating that's evenly distributed on it. These rubs were made specifically for smokers. They really shine when they're in the smoker and really do well with the added smoke. They're great on barbecue as well. So if you want to do a barbecue steak at night, just half hour before you put it on the barbecue, just put the rub on, let it rest, cover it, let it rest for half an hour before you put it on the barbecue. But the smoker, yeah, the longer you can get it on before the smoker, probably the better. But as I said, they're quite versatile, so you can just whack it on and put it in the smoker straight away. You're still going to get a great feed out of it.
This is a large piece of meat too, so I'm not too worried about putting a little bit extra on, so that can permeate into the meat as we're cooking. So now, come down here, and I don't have my grill crates in. So we're going to come back, I'll put the grill plates in. I cleaned them this morning, and we'll come back and put that into the smoker. Okay, so we're ready to put this in now that I've put the grill plates in. I gave them all a rinse this morning, so I'm going to put this down, this sort of the fatter part. It'll go that way. The flat end's just under there, but I've got a bit of fat there still, so I'm going to leave it about 3/4 of the way this way. It's a pretty thick piece of meat, and I still reckon it's going to take about 10-12 hours to cook. Same token, I'm just going to throw that in there like that, and just let that start to render down. So we're going to put the lid down on that. We're going to keep this temperature up here on the thermometer at 150. It just has to rise again now, because we just had it open. And we'll come back probably in about 5 hours. I'll probably spritz it with beer every hour or so. I'll just get some 4X into a spray bottle, and we'll spray that with beer during the cooking process after about 2 hours to stop the meat drying out. And once that rub is adhered to the meat properly. So we'll come back later and we'll have a look and see how that's going. Okay, so we're back now, and this has been in the smoker now for about 7 hours and 15 minutes since we put it on at 7:30 this morning. So I'm happy with the temperature. I checked it before, and I'm looking at about 73 degrees internal. And not only that, the fat, when I press it, is starting to render, and I'm getting the little stringy bits that are coming off it, which says that it's ready to wrap. So what we'll do is we'll wrap this now and get this off. And don't drop it, because that would suck. And I'll get this onto my butcher paper here. And what I've done with this, obviously we've got the beef tallow that we melted down from that beef fat. So I'm going to add a fair bit of that to the meat here. And that'll just help lock a bit of moisture in, add to the flavour, and we're not wasting that. And that'll break down into the meat, and most of it will come out at the end. We're not adding too much.
That bark has formed really well with that rub. It's gone nice and dark. Should be heaps of flavour in there as well. that coffee makes it
Really
nice and dark.
Over the top, and we'll just nice bit there, and just nice and tight. There we have it. So that is ready to go back in the smoker. So I like using butcher's paper. I used to use aluminium a fair bit, but I find the butcher's paper, you know, I think it's probably 6 or a half of it. The butcher's paper allows a little bit of the steam to come out as opposed to aluminium, which holds it all in. When you're probing this, you don't need to unwrap it, just press the probe straight through the butcher's paper and you'll find it will go through. Just one little hole. It's not going to make much of a difference. So that's wrapped nice and tightly now. Put that back in here. And we'll give that probably another 4 to 5 hours depending. We'll obviously go by our thermo probe and we'll also go by how it feels as we're pushing the thermo probe in. So when it starts to probe like butter, should be around the 92 to 93 degrees Celsius. So we'll see how we go. That's probably hopefully by about 6 o'clock in 3 hours. We'll start to get like that, but not going to make any promises. We might be taking this off at 7 o'clock yet. So we'll come back then and have a look and we'll see how we go. Okay, so we've now cooked this for 11 hours. We checked the temperature a little bit. We're sitting at about 93 degrees internal, and just probing it through the paper is a bit rough, but starting to feel through that, and that's just pushing through like butter, which is what we want. It'll take a bit of time to get used to doing this. If you've never done a brisket before, to say it probes like butter, you might stuff 1 or 2 up. We've done a few now between us all, so we sort of know how to feel. And you'll press it through the paper and it'll just slice straight through. So I'm happy with this. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take this out. I'm going to rest it just on the bench here for probably 10 minutes or so. I'm just going to leave it there. I'm just going to let it do its thing. And I'm going to bring the temperature down slowly just on the bench here. About 10 to 15 minutes time, what I'm going to do then is we've got the esky just below here, and we're going to wrap it in a towel, and we're going to put it in the esky, and we're going to rest it for about 1 hour. Rest the meat every time. It doesn't matter what it is, whether it's lamb, brisket, ribs, it doesn't matter. Rest it. So we'll give this about 10 to 15 minutes just to cool it down, bring that temperature down so it stops the cooking process. We'll wrap it in a towel, put it in the esky, and we'll come back and we'll slice that up, and we'll give it the taste test, so we'll see you then.
It smells absolutely amazing.
It does, yeah. It smells pretty good. Okay, so we're back now, and we've had this resting for the last hour. We put it in. We left it out of the esky for 15 minutes just to let the temperature reduce, and then we put it in the esky for 45. So it's been 7 hours in total, about 11 hours of cooking time and an hour of resting. So here's the moment of truth. There's going to be a fair bit of juice come out of this, which there already is, the fat and the extra fat we put in there from the tallow that we made, and you can see that starting to come out. So I'm pretty hopeful this is going to look pretty good. And I'm just going to cut that.
Smells amazing.
It does, doesn't it? And we are looking at that right there. So, like beef ribs, when it wobbles like jelly, you generally, that's actually just broken off. So, okay. So, generally a good sign is when it wobbles like jelly and it's breaking off like that. This is why I like the point. It just breaks apart. It's just a wonderful piece of meat. I'll try to get my spatula. Oh, bugger, I'll do it with hands. Quickly, it's hot. No, spatula. I'll get this off here and we'll get this onto the... There's a fair bit of juice in that, so don't let that go to waste. We'll mix that back into the meat when we cut it. So that's our point there. Now you've still got two cut. You've still got a slight bit of the flat underneath, and you've got the point here. So I'm just going to take a few slices off this, and that's just breaking apart. Now the women folk, as they do, have been rushing me with this, and I've told them not to rush me with this because that's just wrong when it comes to low and slow. Now if I look at that, that's really still quite warm. But look at that. You can see that there. You can see the intramuscular fat coming in there. That's the part of the flat there, and that's the point there.
And when it bends like that, you know you've got it just right.
I'm not cutting these into, 5-6 mil pieces. We're not in a competition here. We're at home, so these can be any sort of slice they want. But what I will do though is I'll get the two wives over here, both Courtney and my wife Louise, and I'll let them do the taste test, because I can sit here and tell you how good it is and say, look, this is amazing, and Matthew can do the same. But we're the ones who've cooked it, and we're naturally going to say it's good. What we want, and I'm going to take a nice piece here from the centre, and once again, look at that. What we're going to do is I'm going to take a piece here, and you've got that little piece of flat there, and you've got the point on top of it. And I'm going to ask the women folk, Louise and Courtney, if you can come over here and try this, because I'd rather you guys test this and tell us what it's like. So there's your piece of the flat, and there's a piece of the point. And once again, there's a piece of the flat, and there's a piece of the point. If you can tell us what you think of that.
Okay. It's really tender. Melts.
It does, doesn't it?
Mm.
Proper melt in the mouth experience.
Mm-hmm.
So that's how we do it in the offset smoker. Like it's not a hard process. Like that was 4.5 kilos when we bought it. We trimmed the fat off. We trimmed the fat off that we needed to. We basically put salt on the outside, put the rub on the outside, put it in the smoker. We smoked it for 7 hours unwrapped for this size meat. This was a fairly thick piece of meat, so it was 7 hours smoking until I reached an internal temperature of 72 degrees. From there, we wrapped it, and it was another 4 hours until it probed to, it was roughly about 92, 93 degrees in certain spots, but we probed it until it was like really buttery. And like I said, you'll get used to that if you've never done it before. It's once you've done it and you understand what it feels like, you'll be fine. We then rested it for 15 minutes on the bench here, and then we put it in the esky for 45. We've taken it out, and now the amount of juice that's retaining in that, like I could probably, like it's just like tender, pull apart, like it's shredded. That's what you want for a point anyway, and it's really good. It's a pretty simple cooking process, but this I'm going to try this. Yeah.
Hurry up, man! I'm hungry.
Yeah, you'll get over it. Yeah, it's really nice. proper good. But yeah. Anyway, I won't hold my friends up from eating, but that's how we do a brisket in the offset smoker, using Matt's rub, the gunpowder rub. So until next time, guys, take care.
See you later, guys.